Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the Mojo Autographs Podcast, episode 2 on this Wednesday, November 20th, 2019 evening. You're doing episode 2 here. Pretty excited. Episode 1 was a nice little trial run, and I'm liking the podcast. A lot of people ask, why would we do the podcast? The reason why is because I can save the records, and everything flows really smooth on this podcast. Just real quick sum up of what to expect from this. Basically, guys, we're going to feature like a topic to talk about. I already have today's topics pretty much down. We're going to talk about something that happened in a Facebook group with autographs, and then what I wanted to do is feature an autograph story. I'm going to feature an autograph collector from a different part of the United States and have them share like a cool autograph experience, bring them on and have them share it with you guys as I read the email they sent me and then bring them on. So should be pretty interesting. This is going to be like, it's going to take a couple tries to get used to talking behind a mic and doing all this, because I'm more into videos, man. I'm not all about this, recording my voice and trying to edit the breaths out when I'm like, and all that stuff. And it's cool though, because if you listen to episode 1, it was really smooth compared to the videos I've put on YouTube of like, why did I stop autograph collecting, or some like video like that I made a while ago. There was a lot of like random pauses and a lot of repetitiveness, and I can cut a lot of that out with the podcast format, audio format, which is pretty cool. And I never realized how long I could talk for, really. It's crazy. But anyway, so today's topic, what we're going to talk about, is something I saw in a Facebook group, and I will bring it up on the YouTube clip, but if you're listening on the podcast, you're just gonna have to hear it and trust my word for it as I read this. It happened in some group called TTM Autographs Galore, and it had me thinking about what this guy was talking about, which actually he hit the nail on it a little bit, but I'll read it to you. So I'll try to keep his name out of it. He said, "Good morning, everyone. I just want to say I'm very disappointed in some of you guys in this group. I shared a major excitement for me in a return from Kevin Costner, which is a TTM return, and I had over 20 people ask me for the address. I always share my addresses. I enjoy helping others with successes. Out of the 20 people that ask, I have had one person say thank you for sharing. It costs nothing to be respectful and polite. It costs nothing. You get a major successful address and got it for free. So disappointed. Oh, and if you sent me a PM, I won't call you out publicly, not my style, but you know who you are. When you read in the post, the address will be posted. Don't send rude comments about PM me the address you used, or I posted a watching to watch for the address, but you haven't shared it yet, or just send me address in a private message. This is why folks stop sharing successes they have. I have nothing for rude, disrespectful people." So that guy was a little bit disappointed. And you know what, dude? I get it. The thing you have to realize, though, is when you're posting successes, people are going to ask you, you guys get it all the time. It's like, hey, did you get those at the hotel? Did you get those at the game? Do you have to have tunnel seats? Did you get all those at once, or did you get them at different times? And like, I have to be the person to answer that question too, which is like, I don't know, it can be tedious at times, but obviously this guy seems like a genuine autograph collector that was just like sharing successes and was willing to give the address out. And that's what's up, man. I think it's cool he was going to give the address out. I think the bigger issue is that people were not respecting the guy. I mean, he does all the research. He posts the success. The one thing is, when you post a success, you got to be willing to be able to deal with all the garbage. People are going to ask you what's the address. The worst is the people that post it and then they are not going to give the address out, right? I don't know, man. It's a flip of a coin on that too. It's like, I don't do very many TTMs, but like if I do ask someone for an address, I usually like will say like, hey, I'd appreciate it if you could share the address, and if not, no big deal. But clearly he was upset because a lot of people were just being kind of like, they weren't being thankful for the fact that he was giving the address out, which can be an issue totally. So, and then like, I don't know, with IP autographing and stuff, people will always ask like, hey, where is this at? And then when you catch that random fan that caught on it to a hashtag that like happens to graph in your city and they figure out the hotel, then it's over. Anyway, that's like doomsday right there. I can think of a story when I was in high school, it was sophomore year. So this is kind of like, talk about posting a success and then being angry at someone for, not necessarily being ungrateful, but let me explain the story. So I'm a sophomore or junior in high school. I'm doing a lot more TTMs, and there's this Chicago Bears player. His name is Draylen Ross. He went to like a Texas college or a college out in Texas, and I had him on Facebook, and I like had hit him up because one of my buddies had gotten game used cleats from him in Chicago during like training camp. So I hit up Draylen Ross and I'm like, yo, Draylen, I'm a huge fan out of Sacramento. If you have an extra pair of gloves after training camp, I'd love to have them in my collection and I'll pay you for shipping if we could pull something off. Basically, I sent him that long thing and I was kind of shocked. He messaged me right after I sent it and he's like, hey man, I'll hook you up with some gloves. Just wait till training camp's over. So I was like gassed up. Obviously, I was really excited and, maybe 2-3 weeks later, I get a package out the door, and he had messaged me on Facebook about maybe a week before the package came, and he said, hey, what's your address? I'm going to send it out. And he ended up sending it out, and lo and behold, I opened this package up from Draylen Ross, Chicago Bears, right? I opened it up, and I opened up on camera on YouTube, and everyone's like gassed up, and when I opened it on YouTube, I was showing off completely, right? But at the same time, I thought it was cool to show people, and a success like that. Like, I got a TTM success of game-used gloves, which was really cool. My mind at the time didn't realize that, I was like going through, I guess you could say, like I was like kind of gassed up and I wanted to show it off. Like that's the true motive there. Like now that I look back, I'm like on the success, I'm like, yeah, I just wanted to post on YouTube to show it off, obviously, knowing that how salty I would be if someone did something and asked him, right? Well, guess what happens about a month later? I get a message from some rapper in Boston, and he had happened to message Draylen Ross, and he's like, he asked him the same request I did, and he only asked him because he knew me, and he added him as a friend on my Facebook, right? Like looking back, how absurd does it sound? Like I feel like a little baby. Like when I was pissed, I held a grudge against this kid because he did this. Looking back, like now, looking at it now, it's like, dude, okay, I posted the success. Like what was I going to expect? Like you didn't expect somebody to friend request this guy and ask him for gloves if he's giving out his game used training camp gloves. Like why wouldn't anybody else ask, right? So this guy, I'm not going to name his name. I don't really talk to him anymore because I don't think he autographs anymore. But anyway, he messages Draylen Ross, and Draylen Ross like, hey, do you know this guy or whatever? And I was like, yeah. And like I didn't say don't give him the gloves. I was just kind of like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I sent him a pair of gloves. He said he knew you and da 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 da. And I was so pissed. And then I messaged this guy. I'm like, man, you're a little baby. Like you're freaking a leech. Like I can't believe I posted that success and you go and ask him for gloves. Like I can't believe you, right? I can't believe what my reaction to that. I should have just been like, hey man, I'm happy for you, right? But unfortunately, I wasn't that mature at 15, 16 years old. I was so pissed and I was salty because I felt like I got that success. I earned it. Like it's mine. So why should someone else get to bask in the glory and get like a pair of gloves? Super selfish on my part. Looking back at it, I know that I was in the wrong, but I didn't know until you don't know until you like know later on in life. Like you mature and you realize like all these little battles you're trying to pull off, trying to be right is such a waste of time and energy. Like I can't even believe it. I wasted so many years trying to be right, and I was never happy doing that. It's a miserable battle to try to be right with people, and I think I battled that with this whole Draylen Ross game used gloves thing. I acted like this kid was like a piece of crap, even though he just did the same thing I was doing, and the only reason he knew is because he watched my YouTube video, and the only reason I uploaded that YouTube video of getting that success was to show off. So I mean, am I in the wrong hating on the guy? Absolutely. Like that's just what I'm saying though. Like when you post a success, what do you expect? Like if you're gonna post a pair of game used shoes or cleats or gloves, I'm gonna tell you right now that your chance of like being, I mean, it's not that hard to ask a player like, hey, can I get your gloves or whatever, your game used shoes? Like that's all you have to do is ask. Like, I don't really do it as much anymore, but I mean, you can make a player a nice thing, or you build a relationship with a player like I've been able to do, obviously with like DeMarcus Cousins and stuff. But it's weird, man. People get all salty, and it's like, well, like I mean, obviously the TTM guy, that situation was a little different, but I can see in other situations when people get all mad. You can think about my Draylen Ross game used glove story when you try to get mad at someone else getting some autograph or game used, or they got an inscription that you happen to post a success of. That's what I want you to think of the Draylen Ross story, because when someone else gets something, I try my best to be as happy as I can for them, especially if I wasn't able to be there for the autographing. It is what it is. Like I know time and time again, it's obviously easier to be vengeful and resentful at people, but I mean, I don't thoroughly enjoy acting like that in my life. So yeah, that Draylen Ross story, that was like PTSD right there. I haven't talked about that before. I thought of it, like I paused this podcast for a little bit, and I'm thinking, man, like why can I not bring up a story of like what happened, something similar? And then I'm sitting in my bed and I'm thinking, I'm clearing my head, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, dude, Draylen Ross game used glove story is freaking perfect for this podcast episode to discuss. So I was salty at someone, and I shouldn't have been, but it is what it is. You live and learn. I just figure you guys should know that story because I'm not perfect. I'm posting my success, like, and people are supporting my account. Why wouldn't I be happy for someone else? Like, I have to draw the line. The guy was right though. I mean, you can't expect to have a handout when he's offering the address. And, I think he was just like pretty upset. And I would be upset too if nobody said thank you, but I wouldn't make a big deal and make a post out of it. But obviously it hurt him, and he's pretty active in that group. So I'm happy he was able to get the success. And, he did shed a light that it's actually a true thing in our society. Like, people really don't say thank you. And I know plenty of people like in customer service jobs and all that. And they never really thanked for their service, right? But it happens, man. That's life. Just like in autographing or TTMs and all that stuff. When you want to post successes, be ready to answer the people, right? If you were going to ask me, why do I post my autograph successes? I mean, if I wanted to sit and, have my autograph sitting in a U-Haul or a basement all day and not, share the stories that come with them, because in my opinion, every autograph has a story. You cannot beat the chase. Like, when you get a good chase of an autograph, it's always like an adrenaline rush, and you want to share that experience. So if you're going to ask me why I share my experiences, yeah, I mean, part of it's to show off, and it sounds crazy, but I know a lot of us are thinking the same thing. And the other aspect is I like to share my stories and embrace the autograph community, and that's how the community is built. If you treat it like a hobby, it's a lot more fun, for me at least, to do that kind of stuff, to share stories. And hearing about like Damian Lillard signing for the fans in Milwaukee when I just had graphed him and he took care of him just like I did. I mean, I like hearing that kind of stuff, so it's pretty cool, and it kind of gives me preparation. I'm not the type of person who gets all anxious about who's going to sign what and how they were in each city. I used to be like that in my early graphing days. Now I kind of get the gist of it. After you've autographed for a while, LeBron's not signing, and Damian Lillard's pretty good about signing autographs, and when you go for him. So it's kind of like one of those things, after you do this for a while, you don't really need to ask every grapher like, oh, hey, how were they? But every once in a while, I'll be like, hey, like if the Mavericks were in like, Boston and they were coming over, to California, I'd be like, hey, how was Luka on the trip? And if someone tells me, oh, the security guard's walking him through shoot around, he's not letting him sign till pregame, that's a big sign right there. And I've actually been told that about Anthony Davis before, and Anthony Davis pretty much became a pregame signer only at the hotel. So it just goes to show you, sometimes autograph success stories can help. Obviously, some people, hold them in and they'll tell you, privately what's up. But I feel like life's short. You kind of have to embrace it. Part of the autograph community, and you have an Instagram account. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't share your success, obviously, without blowing the spot. At the end of the day, I mean, it's your decision. It's like, what kind of experience do you want? Like, I'm not saying what kind of legacy you're trying to live with Instagram clout, like none of that stuff. I just think it's like, you either are going to post your successes and have fun, or you're going to look down on people that post successes and be absolutely miserable and just like wonder like why social media is still ruining autographs, when in fact there's nothing that you can do to fix it. With everything going on, it's too late. Like, just whatever, man. I don't want to say join the movement. It's not like Star Wars, but it's like, man, just sit back, relax, and like enjoy the community for what it is for now. I can tell you firsthand that I've seen autograph communities dismantled, and it happened on YouTube when I first started. After I went to college, there was really no more YouTube. Now YouTube's back, and Instagram is crazy booming, so it's kind of cool. But you don't realize how good the good times are until they're gone. I know that sounds cliche, but it's the truth. I remember the glory days of graphing at the old arena here, and I miss them to pieces, man. I had so much fun during those times, and I never really cherished them until they're gone, but now they're memories, so it's kind of cool. So anyway, that's the podcast for today. Kind of touched on the whole, kept it kind of fluid and flowing here with the autograph success ripple effect, the good and bad of it. And it's kind of an interesting topic. You don't really hear about it too much. Every once in a while at the hotel, you'll hear people grumble about it, but I think to hear it on the podcast, it's just my opinion and observations of the community lately. That's kind of how it's been flowing. So anyway, I will talk to you guys for the next podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed, and follow me on Instagram on Mojo Autographs, or YouTube Mojo Autographs. And if you have a story to share with us, send me an email, mojoautographs@gmail.com. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. See ya. Keep rocking.